Right now at noon, the next stage of the impeachment trial officially kicking off today in Washington as the articles are delivered to the U.S. Senate. And we're learning more about another incident this week at Jefferson Middle School. An update straight ahead.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday afternoon. It is a cold one out there today with wind chills below zero. Let's head over to the Weather Center. Meteorologist Reese has a look at your first alert forecast. Hi, Chris.
Hello, Mark. Things are certainly chilly out there, and when you factor in the wind, things are a lot colder. We haven't made it out of the single digits yet today. 8 is our temperature right now. Now, if you go down to places like Janesville and Monroe, you have made it towards 14 and 12, respectively. Kenosha at 29. Let's factor in the wind, shall we? It feels like -8 right now. 11 below zero is what it feels like in the Dells. We're going to continue to see this cold last as we go through today. Not a cloud in the sky, though. So high-resolution Doppler is a clean sweep. No worries about snow here this afternoon. There's some lake effect snow over in parts of western Michigan, but this, folks, this is what we're keeping an eye on. Pay attention to parts of New Mexico and the Texas Panhandle. That's going to be coming our way as we head into tomorrow evening. And for the weekend, we have alert days in store. We're talking the next winter storm here in about 15 minutes.
We'll see you then. Thanks, Chris. Topping the news at noon, the Government Accountability Office says the Trump administration broke the law when it withheld U.S. security aid to Ukraine last year that had been appropriated by Congress, an issue at the center of the impeachment of President Trump. The GAO, a nonpartisan congressional watchdog, said in a decision issued today that the White House Budget Office violated the Impoundment Control Act, a 1974 law that limits the White House from withholding funds that Congress has appropriated. The decision comes as the president's Senate impeachment trial is set to begin today. The articles were presented to the Senate at noon Eastern Time. Today, Chief Justice John Roberts will soon take an oath to preside over the impeachment trial. His first duty will be to swear in the jurors, the 100 senators who will ultimately decide President Trump's fate.
The House's hour is over. The Senate's time is at hand.
The founders anticipated that impeachment trials would always be buffeted by the wind of politics. But they gave the power to the Senate anyway, because they believed the chamber was the only place where impartial justice of the president could truly be sought.
The House charges against the president stem from allegations that he pressured Ukraine to investigate a political rival using military aid as leverage. We're learning more details today about another incident at Jefferson Middle School. Madison police say a student was taken to the hospital with a concussion after being attacked by a classmate yesterday afternoon. The victim told police he had been bullied for some time by the boy who hit him. The attacker was removed from the classroom and taken to the Juvenile Reception Center. You'll remember Jefferson Middle School was at the center of an incident where 2 students were shot with a BB gun by one of their peers. Assistant Principal Larry Love cites the recent challenges facing the school district in an email, saying, "Given the recent challenges Jefferson staff and families have been working through together, I want to make sure that I am being as transparent as possible with you." He also notes that they are working to make sure the students and families involved are being supported and that the appropriate consequences will be implemented. Board members from a local school district will hold a special meeting today to discuss the potential resignation of their superintendent. New details have surfaced about Beloit Superintendent Dr. Stanley Monroe and his behavior toward staff and administration. A former employee we spoke with, who wants to stay anonymous, described it as hostile and intimidating. Should he be out of his position today, it's not clear who would take his place in an interim role. The search for the next superintendent of Madison schools is drawing to a close. We've now heard from 2 of the finalists for the position. The most recent, Dr. Matthew Garcia, is the current superintendent of the Seguin Independent School District in Texas.
I've taught middle school English language arts. I have served as a middle school assistant principal, an elementary principal, have worked in human resources, served as an interim superintendent, and a superintendent of schools.
Van den Weingard have both spoken with families at East High about their vision for the district. Tonight, you can hear from Dr. George Eric Thomas at La Follette High School to hear more about his plans. That starts at 6 o'clock. Another school district facing accusations this morning, a 17-year-old is suing Baraboo schools, saying the district ignored claims of racial harassment and sexual assault. The lawsuit mentions dozens of instances in which the plaintiff and her mom reported the cases to staff. According to the documents filed, the harassment started when the now teenager was in first grade and continued through middle and high school. Baraboo Superintendent is responding with a statement saying the district has not been served a lawsuit, and if they do, there would be no comment until a review and advisement from legal counsel. New at noon, the TSA says they stopped 24 handguns at Wisconsin airports in 2019. That's an increase from the previous year. The state's numbers improved, mirrored this, a national trend. The report says officers across the country caught more than 4,400 firearms at checkpoints last year. And it is a sure sign that winter is here. The Wisconsin State Climatology Office says Lake Mendota has officially frozen over. It happened on Sunday. They say January 12th is 2 days after last year's second freeze date. The median freeze date for Lake Mendota is December 20th, but with the warm December and the start of January, that delayed things this year. And there's more to come on News 3 Now at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Can you name a cobbler that's always in season? I'll give you a hint. It's made from a bean, a cocoa bean. Over the years here in the test kitchen, we've made more than our fair share of cobblers. In the summer, we've made them with fresh peaches and berries, while in the fall, apples were our fruit of choice. But now that it's winter, what do you say we change things up a bit by making a rich chocolatey cobbler that's always in season? We start by melting some butter in a shallow casserole dish or a deep dish pie plate. While that's doing its thing, we combine some sugar, all-purpose flour, a bit of salt, a little baking powder, and a couple of tablespoons of cocoa powder. After that's mixed, we add some milk and vanilla. And after a quick stir, we spoon it over our melted butter. And to give this its irresistible cobbler topping, we sprinkle it with a simple toffee pecan crumb. Now for the magical part, we pour some boiling water over it and into the oven it goes. In a little over a half an hour, the top transforms into a decadent chocolate pecan crust, while underneath, we end up with a layer of molten fudge. You can bet the whole house is gonna smell like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Maybe team it up with some vanilla ice cream for a combo that'll satisfy any sweet tooth. The recipe for our chocolate pecan cobbler is on our website now. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a decadently chocolate way for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Where'd you come from? You don't.
All right. Thank you. Still ahead to come at noon. More troubles for Boeing 737 MAX, the latest in today's Moneywatch report. And a cold day so far, but we're looking ahead to the weekend for another potential snowstorm. Meteorologist Reese has your first alert forecast coming up.
For an accurate forecast you can trust, watch First Alert Weather.
Welcome back. Another bump in the road for Boeing and its troubled 737 MAX jets, and how Chipotle is reaching out to meal preppers this new year. Here's today's Moneywatch report.
Stocks opened at new all-time highs following better than expected earnings in the banking sector. So far, about 7% of the S&P 500 companies have turned in their quarterly report cards, and the vast majority have beat expectations. More troubles for Boeing 737 MAX. Southwest is pulling the jet from routes through June. The budget airliner followed in the footsteps of United and American in pulling the aircraft from schedules through the early summer. Keep in mind the jet has been grounded since last March following 2 deadly crashes overseas. The last report on retail sales for 2019 is out. According to the Commerce Department, sales rose 0.3% in December. People bought more clothes, furniture, and electronics and did more shopping online. Meal prep is a great idea in theory, especially when you are working on New Year, New Me resolutions. But what happens when you forget your lunch? Enter Chipotle to the rescue. The chain has been randomly reaching out to people who tweet about forgetting their lunch. One lady tweeted her goal for 2020 was to bring a healthy lunch to work and forgot it on her first day. Chipotle has been responding to those tweets with codes for a free lunch on them. And that's your CBS Moneywatch report. For more, head to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Diane Kinghall.
And thank you. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrial is up 164 points. The NASDAQ up 59.5. The S&P 500 is up 18.5. Look who is back. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee, just in time for this cold snap coming from Central America.
Yeah, honestly, but I'll tell you, buddy, while we were in Costa Rica and Panama on our farm tour, every day it was almost 100. This body is made for the weather we've got coming up, believe me. Yeah, it's good to be back. It's also good to be back at a time when there's so many things happening in Washington, D.C. to keep an eye on. Of course, we've been following the impeachment discussions. And as far as agriculture is concerned, yesterday, the Phase 1 implementation of our deal with China had traders talking. And today, it's the passage of the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. I only wish that I could tell farmers our corn, soybeans, and wheat prices are up. They are not. And this is really a little bit of a surprise to traders, to analysts, because we had good export numbers that were released this morning, seeing more of our soybeans starting to move down the channel, but still on the midday as far as corn, soybeans, and wheat are concerned, we're taking a pretty nasty hit. Corn is down about 9 cents right now. The soybeans continue to trail, and the wheat market has not seen positive territory in quite a little while. So the news may be good as far as the long-term play is concerned in Washington, D.C., but today, traders needing a little bit more convincing. The one good thing that I am noticing is dairy. With the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement in play, dairy seems to be rebounding a little bit. Remember, Mexico and Canada, two of the strongest markets, not just for U.S. dairy, but for Wisconsin dairy. So that's the good news. Fluid milk contracts are definitely trending higher, up double digits from February right on through June right now in Chicago. And the dairy product prices also getting another punch in the arm today, thank goodness, going up. Barrel cheese today up 4.5 at 153. 40-pound block cheese up 5 1/4 for a Thursday at 194. AA butter, now that we're coming off of some of the holiday highs when it comes to baking, that's actually down a penny today, Mark, at 189 3/4. But given the outlook for the Super Bowl, we may see even more of those dairy products featured. Keeping our fingers crossed.
Yeah, all the way around. Isn't Costa Rica beautiful?
Yes, it is. Yeah, beautiful from an air-conditioned bus.
Okay, we got it. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Let's head over to the Weather Center. Maybe some more snow on the way, Chris.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. If you were watching yesterday, one of the things I began to break down were the ingredients that it's going to take to get a winter weather event around here. And if you have not stepped outside, well, I'm here to tell you that cold air is certainly here. A Canadian high has pulled that colder air further down south. We're feeling that right now. The other ingredient that I talked about was the fact that we would have a storm system that formed in the plains. Well, this is on the maps. We're going to take a look at this in just a second. The next thing that's going to happen as we go through about the next 24 hours is that Gulf of Mexico moisture is going to begin to stream northward into parts of the upper Midwest, bringing with it more chances for wintry precipitation. Let's start with the cold, folks. The temperature right now at about 12:20 in the afternoon is 8 here in Madison, 5 in the Dells, Black River Falls at 4, La Crosse and Viroqua at 3, Decorah, Iowa at 0 right now. Now, towards the south, things are just a tad warmer. Janesville coming in at 14. We're at 12 as you work your way over towards Monroe. Lake Mendota completely frozen over. Our wind chill right now, 8 below 0, but there is plenty of sunshine right now. High-resolution Doppler has given us a pretty much clean sweep all day long, so it doesn't matter where you are. Cross Plains, Mount Horeb, Waunakee, down through Fitchburg and Belleville, you are seeing the sunshine. You will continue to see the sunshine as we go through the rest of this afternoon. But I want to jump down towards the Texas Panhandle. Here's our storm system that's developing on the maps right now. You have a wintry mix and snow all the way back towards places such as Albuquerque, rain and lightning coming through places such as Dallas and the Red River Valley. This will begin to pull northward as we go through time. In fact, Future Tracks shows that by the time we get you towards 5:30 in the morning on Friday, there will likely be a wintry mix from places like Kansas City up towards Omaha, Nebraska. But watch what happens as we go towards Friday night. That is when we start to see some of that snow beginning to move into the picture. Pay attention to the clock. This is 5:30 Friday evening. that does mean your evening commute is going to have some impacts as that leading edge of snow starts to work its way in. And folks, we go towards 8 o'clock, that's when that snow will get heavier. So I believe your entire evening commute tomorrow is definitely going to be a little bit messy. We'll keep the snow around going all the way into the overnight hours as well. But once we get you past 3 o'clock in the morning, something begins to happen that I want to point out. I think we start to see a little bit of drier air coming in. And while a lot of the models are showing more so snow, when you get drier air that mixes in, that's when you have a chance for some freezing rain and sleet to mix into the picture as well. And I think that's especially going to be the case as you work your way south of Madison. That's where the best chance for that to happen is going to be. We'll see flurries on the backside by the time we get you towards lunchtime Saturday. I believe the system itself begins to pull away. But we're talking moderate impacts for pretty much everything. Driving, walking, and clearing. Not the worst storm, but it's certainly going to be one that you're going to feel the impacts. I'm expecting 2 to 4 inches down south along the state line, 4 to 6 inches from Madison and points towards the north, and perhaps greater than 6 inches for places like Westfield, Wautoma as you work your way towards Friday afternoon. This pink line shows you where I think the best chance is for some freezing rain and sleet to mix in on the southern side of that. But folks, beyond the storm, it is the cold. By the time we get you towards next week, especially Martin Luther King Day, I think we could see days where those temperatures again struggle out of the teens, very similar towards today, but it's going to be windier. I think we could see wind chills as much as 10, 20, 25 degrees below zero. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up with some wind chill advisories for the start of next week. By the way, in addition to the cold, this is a perfect winter forecast right here. We have another chance for some rain and snow by next Thursday, Friday.
Here we go.
Here we go.
All right, Chris.
Buckle up.
Still ahead at noon, Marissa DeGroot from the Dane County Humane Society is here with our pet of the week. You're going to meet Toothpick when we come back. Marissa DeGroot from the Dane County Humane Society is here. Welcome to you.
Hi.
Who's our friend this week?
We have Toothpick here.
Toothpick?
Well, not quite a toothpick.
No.
He is a big boy.
Tell us his
Toothpick
story.
here. He's a 4-year-old retriever mix, and he came up from an overcrowded shelter down in Alabama.
And he's a friendly guy.
He is. He's one of those guys that when he meets people, he just can't help but keep wiggling because he's just so happy. You
tail.
can see that happy wiggle going.
Where's your toy?
Yeah, is that it? But yeah, he's just a fun, high-energy guy, and I think he would do well with a lot of households, but he does need to be in a home with no kitties or critters.
Okay.
He has quite a high prey drive, so...
As you can see from this.
Yes. So yeah, no kitties in the house, but I think if you do have other dogs in the house, as long as you're doing a nice slow intro, I think he'd do great.
I can dislocate my shoulder here.
He is a very strong guy, but he's very smart. And
So
I
he needs
think-
room to run?
Yeah, he needs room to run and play, and maybe a family who would like to do training classes with him too, because he is so smart. He's already learning a lot. Can we sit?
Boy,
Nice
good
job.
boy. That's a good boy.
So you can see, even though he gets really rowdy and playful, he's really easy to redirect. So I think he's going to learn a ton if you really sink that time into it.
Pretty gentle
Nice
with
job.
taking the treats.
Oh yes, he is just kind of a big snuggle buddy.
Okay, it's been a year since the thrift store opened.
It has, and so this weekend we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of our thrift store. Saturday and Sunday you can head out there. We're gonna have puppies, popcorn, prizes, and 20% off everything in the store.
You can't beat that. Mm-hmm. All right, and last week?
Oh, we had our kitty, Miss Tippy, and believe it or not, she is still available.
Really? She was so sweet.
She is the sweetest, and so you can come meet Miss Tippy and Toothpick at the shelter today.
Both at the main shelter. All right, good luck, Toothpick. Maybe want to rename him, I don't know. He seems to know the name,
He
though.
seems to know it.
All right. If you want information on Toothpick or all the critters available, go to giveshelter.org, 838-0413. Marissa, thank you. Have a good weekend. Here's Chris with one final check of the forecast.
Plenty of sunshine out there as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Soak that up and enjoy it. It will be cold, though. Highs will only top out right around 15 degrees, but we drop down to 2 tonight. The clouds will be on the increase as we move through tomorrow. And by the way, by tomorrow evening, I think we'll start to see the rounds of snow moving in. That will bring impacts to your evening commute, folks, so make sure that you are prepared for that. We'll see that snow sticking around all the way as we take you into your Saturday morning as well. When all is said and done, it'll likely be 2 to 4 inches of snow near the state line, 4 to 6 inches of snow from Madison and points towards the north, and then from about Westfield north, that's where you'll likely be seeing 6 inches of snow, if not more than that. Cold with some sunshine as we go from Sunday through Wednesday. Our next potential snowmaker arrives by the end of next week. So, Mark, we're staying very busy here in the Weather Center.
It is January, that's for sure. All right, Chris, thank you. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.